Okay, everybody, so I am prepping for class and I'm about to do some reading, and I take notes when I read. And so I'm going to use my notebook for some processing of my thinking. And so I'm going to just kind of record and just show you another way of using my notes. So my notebooks, I'm going to put in today's date. And I'm going to look at the syllabus. So we're focusing on low stakes writing and standards. And so I'm just going to copy all the links here. And go ahead and paste that in there. And I think, like, for me, the easiest way that I like to think, you may not think this way, is sort of in a linear way. So I'm going to insert a table. And so there's 5 different Okay. So I'm just going to like draw these into these spots here. And you might be like, what is she going to do with those columns? I don't know. I don't know what the columns are for. I'm just putting them there in case I need them. Okay. All right. So these are the readings. All right. So I'll start with notebooking versus journaling. And so this makes sense to me. Let's see. Okay. So is it a diary, a journal? No, it's the writer's notebook. So I'm going to put in the author's name here. And that it's 1990. Okay, so you might be thinking, why does she have these old things? Well, because it's the beginning of the class, and I think it's helpful to think about the trajectory of writing instruction for high school. And so we like start a long time ago and see like what's the foundation, what's changed, and then what's different. And so as we make it through the class, we're gonna notice like I'll have more contemporary readings. You'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to start reading. I'm not going to read out loud, but you can maybe just, you could fast forward this or however you want to do with the video, but I'm just showing you how I'm thinking about it. Okay, so this, what I like about Ralph Fletcher is that the notebook provides a safe place to play with an idea before going public with it. I like that. Investigate the vastness of life. I like that quote too. I think this is the author. Okay, and then I like this Randy Bomer guy says, reminds the artist to observe more closely, to look at things they might otherwise ignore. I like that. Oh, Bomer. A ditch, a sketchbook, a container. One thing the writer's notebook is not, it is not a diary or, okay, so I think that's right now, that might be the key claim here. I'm gonna put that here. Huh, okay, so maybe this is like names, quotes. Maybe that's how I'll use it. And then, oh, I didn't want that. Maybe this will be my response. I'm just making up as I go, just kind of thinking about how to use the white space on the page and sort of organize it. You know, so these are like, these are almost like paragraphs, and these are like sentences, or, you know, just thinking about how I'm organizing my thoughts and things. Okay, so I'm going to pause. So I'm going to read a little bit more and take some notes, and I'll come back for the next one. Okay, so I'm back and I took some notes, and I now have like another column where I put like a claim or what I think is kind of the main idea, and then a place for my response. So now I'm going to move into the next one, Low Stakes Writing by Peter Elbow. This looks like it's 1997. Again, I'm sharing this with you because I read it when I was in school, and it was life-changing for me as a writing teacher, and also not enough people read this, and so that they start teaching without doing this, even though like there's a ton of research that says it's really good, but nobody. So I'm sharing it with you so you know the foundation of the writing notebook and like the low stakes writing. So so I'm going to do the same thing. I mean, if there's any authors or foundational names, some quotes. So it seems like it's kind of similar to some of the things that was in the last one, that it's what to do in the classroom. So I'm just going to put some notes here. It's graded informally. Okay, so I think this might be the claim here is, you know, because it says we argue. So he's saying, Elbow is saying we should honor nonverbal knowing. Nonverbal knowing, that's interesting. Inviting students to use low stakes writing to fumble and fish for words, for what they sense and intuit, but cannot yet clearly say. I like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add, I'm just going to make ellipses here because I think this other part is students are much less liable to be held back by fear or inability to put what they know on paper when they come to high stakes. Right. Okay, so here's my response here, because I'm not so sure that not so sure that the point is to prepare students for high stakes. So I hope that's not what he's saying, because like compared to the one above, is that they're sort of saying like this is a place for students to see the world, to investigate the vastness of the world. I think that's like key. It doesn't say to do well on the test. So that's kind of like these two articles are kind of in conversation in that way. It's kind of different. Okay, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to read a little bit more and then come back. Okay, so I actually found out some great tips here. I mean, I actually knew them and I've been trying to implement them, but I numbered like in this category, what to do in the classroom, a few tips kind of toward the end of it, which I thought was really helpful. And so the next one is to look at the Oklahoma State standards, like to choose a grade and kind of look at them. So I'm going to click on these and the social justice standards to kind of find myself familiar with it. So what am I going to write in these boxes here? So probably there aren't going to be names. Maybe there's some quotes, maybe what to do in the classroom. For the claim, I think I just want to get a sense of like what Oklahoma values and then what's the value of the social justice standards. So I'm going to just kind of play around with that. And then I have my Penny Kittle book here. So I'm going to read parts 1 and 2. So I have that ready to go. And I'm going to write some notes in here. Okay. So I just wanted to share, and you can like check back at my notebook later, but I just wanted to share how I was sort of using my chart, and then I'm going to go back and respond. So I'm not sure if the chart is the best way to go to take notes. I don't know. But I'm just kind of experimenting with the notebook as a way of processing my thinking and having kind of how I would organize things if I were to write an essay about it, or if I want to come back to it, and kind of how I see these in conversations. So here's the big question. Does the Oklahoma standard and the social justice standard, does it support what these two are saying about low stakes writing? So is there low stakes writing in the Oklahoma standards? How does social justice standards fit in with low stakes writing? So those are some questions I'm going to be looking at. And then when I get to Penny Kittle, I'm going to be, again, looking for low stakes writing there too. So I hope this was helpful.